Hello and welcome to another installment of Metallic Reviews, the show where I take an honest look at the harder, heavier side of music and give it an honest rating. Today, we head to Poland to examine an album by a band that made their first record when all the guys were still just teenagers. Yes, it's death metal mainstays Decapitated and their latest effort, Cancer Culture, released May 27th on Nuclear Blast. Now, this is the band's first record since Anticult back in 2017 and features a couple of pretty big-name guests, namely Tatiana from Ginger and Rob from Machine Head. So how'd everyone do? Let's find out. As far as standard death metal albums go, this one does mess with a lot in order to accomplish what it wants to do. The almost overly regulated death metal formula of riff, verse, riff, chorus, riff, verse, repeat is mixed and matched with some outside influences to form something of a deathy Frankenstein. Now, this album does carry a little bit more at the gates than like straight Cannibal Corpse, with its more melodic sections, its hooky vibe and tendency to toss vocals around like food in the average blender. Everything is chopped up, reevaluated, and then stitched back together again in a very interesting combination. Now, I love that they do this because it pulls the album out of the mundanity that a lot of modern death bands fall into. There's so many bands out there trying to be the next Cannibal Corpse or Suffocation that it's nice to see someone do something a little bit different without losing the admittedly dark heart that comes with this kind of music. And because it is a band with as much death metal credibility as Decapitated has, that just makes it even better. They pull in a ton and get almost everything out of where they go. And I will talk about where they don't in a minute, but first, the good stuff. The album opens with a fury after an instrumental bit, as the title track and Just a Cigarette light everything up. Ex-Vader drummer James Stewart throws down the gauntlet almost immediately, and he doesn't really stop through the rest of the album. No Cure retains said fury as vocalist Rasta rails against 4chan universities. Yes, those are literally the lyrics. But again, we're going to get to that. The track, from a songwriting standpoint, is absolutely thunderous. I love the groundwork laid over this whole project by guitarist Vog and guest bassist / former member Pavel Pasek. Everyone comes together to record something terrific, which is why the album works on the level that it does. Now, speaking of terrific recordings, Tatiana and Rob guest on Hello Death and Iconoclast, respectively. Both tracks work in terms of sonics, and each guest offers an intense yet provocative vocal performance. But for me, Tatiana's was just a little bit better. Her clean singing backing up against Rasta's rough stuff is an absolute gem. And, Ginger's become one of the biggest bands in metal over the past couple of years. And this performance on here, it's clear to see why. I am curious to catch their set when I attend the Blue Ridge Rock Fest this September. Stay tuned for that. Anyway, both guests offer something unique to their own songs, and Rob does a great job on his, but I'll probably be returning to Hello Death over Iconoclast. Just a personal opinion. Now, it's here where the album dips just a little bit. The final 4 tracks, while not terrible, just aren't quite as good as the rest of the album. Suicidal Space Program is a fine track, and album closer Last Supper shuts things down with a bang. However, Locked and Hours as Battlegrounds are kind of odd in their placement. Locked is just barely over a minute long and kind of sounds like what would happen if a death metal band attempted to write grindcore. Again, it's not terrible at all, it's just odd in where it is and how it speeds up the album right before the last song. Now, speaking of that, Hours as Battlegrounds, for me at least, ranks as the quote-unquote worst, or I guess maybe weakest song here. It has a slow, plodding pace, and it doesn't really fit with the ferocity of the rest of the record. To be honest, it would probably be better on something by a band like Lamb of God or something like that. I wouldn't categorize it as a bad song, just not one that's really required listening here. Now, all in all, Decapitated have put forward a very good death metal album. Yes, it needs tweaking here and there, pacing does become a bit of a problem towards the end, and some of the lyrics need a little work. But overall, this is a fierce, terrific homage to what happens when death metal and thrash metal kind of smash together, and they toss a good bit of melody in there just to zip everything up. In light of all that, I'm giving it a very, very solid 4.5 out of 5. Thanks so much for watching. Click like. Do not forget to subscribe because we got plenty more Metallic reviews to get to here in 2022. Next week, we're heading back to Germany. Just seems like we can't get away from this place lately, as the land of bratwurst and schnitzel serves up yet another of the Teutonic thrash metal legends. It's Creator and their new album Hate über alles, and I hope you'll join me for that review. You've been watching Metallic Reviews, where I give honest ratings to honest music. I will see y'all next time.